and Nancy Pelosi. Why don't you pull up that video, Wolf and Nancy Pelosi? If you guys haven't seen this, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. If you haven't seen this, talk about Joe Biden taking half the money of all of our buddy Hunter. Yeah, we'll get into that next. By the way, if you're enjoying this, I know we did a couple things here. Last minute we posted this live, so you guys didn't know this was going to be live. We could have done a better job posting it earlier, but we posted it yesterday, so many people are asking us, saying, Pat, we love the podcast, but we wanted to put in our schedule, and if it's not in the schedule, we're working. We have certain things going on, so I understand that part of it. But those of you guys that are the ones that are still with us and you found the time to be with us, put the thumbs up and share this if you're enjoying it, and we'll keep it going. If you haven't subbed to the channel either, as well, please click on that too. So this last week, Pelosi goes on CNN with Wolf, and they start doing an interview. And Pelosi, typically when she goes on CNN, she's treated royally. Nobody asks tough questions. Right. It just doesn't happen.
She looks very calm.
She looks very calm, like, hey, they're going to give me nice little questions, and I'm just going to blame it on Trump, and they're going to agree with me, and it's going to be good. The American people are, because all these guys are Democrats, they don't want Trump, so I'm going to win here. And then this is what, we're not going to watch the whole thing. All it takes the first 30 seconds to see what happens, and then we'll go on how it ends at the end. So, Kai, if you want to press play.
Americans who are being evicted from their homes, they can't pay the rent. Many Americans are waiting in food lines for the first time in their lives. Can you look them in the eye, Madam Speaker, and explain why you don't want to accept the president's latest stimulus offer?
Well, because, thank you very much, Wolf, and I hope you'll ask the same question of the Republicans about why they don't really want to meet the needs of the American people. But let me say to those people, because all of my colleagues, we represent these people.
Okay.
I have for over 30 years.
Go over here. No, go over here. And what I want you to do is I want you to go every time he talks.
I know what
Keep
their
going
needs
a little bit and find the next time he talks.
To them, and their needs are not a.
Okay, right there. Go back a little bit.
I understand that.
Go back a little bit.
Because
McConnell
says let the states go bankrupt.
Excuse me for interrupting,
let the states go bankrupt.
Madam Speaker, but they really need the money right now. And even members of your own...
I understand that,
but even members of your own caucus... Even members of your own caucus, Madam Speaker, want to accept this deal. $1.8 trillion. Congressman Ro Khanna, for example. But let me just quote Ro Khanna, a man you know well. I assume you admire him. He's a Democrat. And he just said this. He said, people in need can't wait until February. $1.8 trillion is significant and more than twice the Obama stimulus. Make a deal. Put the ball in McConnell court. So what do you say to Ro Khanna?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues apologists for the Republican position.
When has CNN ever been known for being an apologist? Go to the next part.
Of a problem that the president refuses to address.
But you know,
and that is the coronavirus.
We know
she wants to change the topic.
Problem out there, but there are millions of Americans who have lost their jobs. They can't pay the rent. Their kids need the food.
That's right, and that's what we're trying to get done.
$1.8 trillion, and the president just tweeted, stimulus, go big or go home. He wants even more right now. So why not work out a deal with him, and don't let the perfect, as they say here in Washington, be the enemy of the good.
Well, I will not let the wrong be the enemy of the right.
What's wrong with $1.8 trillion?
You know what? Do you have any idea what the difference is between the spending that they have in their bill and that we have in our bill? Do you realize that they have come back and said all these things for child tax credits and earned income tax credits or helping people who have lost their jobs are eliminated in their bill? Do you realize they pay no respect to the fact that child care is very important for people whose children cannot go to school because they're doing remote learning, and yet they minimize the need for child care?
Click on the next one.
President about this.
Go back a little bit.
Right now, I'm asking you.
Obama, excuse me, God forbid.
Madam Speaker,
I'm
not an apologist. I'm asking you serious questions because so many people are in desperate need right now. Let me ask you this. When was the last time?
Let me respond to you.
Watch this.
Madam Speaker, when was the last time you spoke with the president about this?
I don't speak to the president. Speak with his representative.
Why not call him and say, Mr. President, let's work out a deal. It's not going to be everything you want, not going to be everything I want, but there are so many Americans right now who are in desperate need. Let's make a deal.
What makes me amused, if it weren't so sad, is how you all think that you know more about the suffering of the American people than those of us who are elected by them to represent them at that table.
Bullshit answer.
It is unfortunate that we do not have shared values with this White House, and that they have in their bill, why don't you talk about in their bill, a tax break for the wealthiest families in the country while they cut out the earned income tax credit for the poor active. It will be retroactive.
Here's what you wrote in a letter to House Democrats, Madam Speaker, and I asked these questions only, as you know, so many millions of Americans are suffering right now.
Well, you quote two people who know nothing about the agreement. There is no agreement, but what the suggestions are, as if there's some authority.
She was talking about Andrew Yang, by the way.
Please give equal weight to all of the chairmen on the committee who have written this bill.
But so many of your fellow Democrats in the House, they want a deal right now.
No, that isn't.
The problem solvers, they all want a deal right now.
Yeah.
And here's what they're complaining about, because you wrote a letter to House Democrats and you said this. Let me read a line from the letter.
So we have absorbed nearly $500 billion more of expenses still within the 2.2.
I understand all of that, and I have only the greatest respect for you.
So do the math.
Madam Speaker, I have only the greatest respect for you.
We have come down $1.6 or $7 trillion.
$1.8 trillion. $1.8 trillion is a lot of money. The American people need that money ASAP because they're suffering right now. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying...
And you don't care how it's spent.
I care, of course, how it's spent.
Oh, she does now.
But what I don't understand is why not talk to the president personally,
still getting a check.
Call him up,
Everybody's
and say,
getting paid.
Mr. President, let's get a deal tomorrow.
Look, let me say this. The president has sent Mr. Mnuchin to negotiate. That's what we've done with other presidents. This isn't unusual. With President Bush, we did this quite a bit because that's how you negotiate.
Okay, go to the last part.
And then you should all trust it.
And let's hope they get more treatments. Let's hope they get a vaccine. And Madam Speaker, yes. I certainly respect you, but I also respect Ro Khanna. I respect Andrew Yang. I respect members of the Democrats who are members of the problem solvers. They want a deal because so many people right now
well,
are
the problem
suffering.
solvers, by the way, don't have any earned income tax credit or child tax credit in their proposal either. But let's not go into that.
Yeah,
you evidently do not respect the chairman of the committees who wrote these bills.
I respect
and
all
I
of
wish you would respect the knowledge that goes into
Go to the end. Last 30 seconds.
It's not about me. It's about millions of Americans who can't put food on the table, who can't pay the rent.
And we represent them. And we represent them. And we represent them.
These long food lines that we're seeing. I know you are.
We know them.
I'm just saying.
We represent them and we know them.
As we say.
We know them. We represent them.
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, as they say.
It is nowhere near perfect.
Madam Speaker.
Always the case, but we're not even close to the good.
All right, let's see what happens because every day is critically, critically important.
That was very uncomfortable to watch, right? So what are your thoughts when you see that?
Number one, and I don't care if you're left, right, blue, green, whatever, you have to respect Wolf Blitzer for what he just did.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I agree. I tweeted. I gave him love.
Okay.
I send love to him.
So I know a lot of people, CNN doesn't do this, CNN doesn't do that. That's a full-on journalist right there.
Yeah.
Okay? Pressing the leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Do you know what the Democrats are doing at this point? Where Nancy Pelosi's doing? You know what they're doing? I'll use a sports analogy. They're running out the clock. They could have... If they could have had a deal 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever you want to call it, they would have struck a deal. Now we are within almost 2 weeks of the election. They are trying to give Trump 0 W's in the last 2 weeks. Will Amy Coney Barrett be named to the court? I'm sure she will. Does she deserve it? Most likely, yes. That'll be a W for Trump. They're not giving him this stimulus W. I mean, and she's going to take the brunt of it. She looks like an absolute fool.
Yeah.
But she's going to play the fool for the next 2 weeks.
You know, she's got a reputation of having a temper, right? That she goes off behind closed doors. You could see that. She's seething. She's really upset. First time I've watched CNN in a long time, and I thought, that is good TV. That was good TV because there was conflict.
Yeah.
There's never conflict on CNN. It's the same crap all the time. So I thought that was amazing. Wolf was phenomenal. You just never see pushback like that ever. And I've always liked Wolf, and I always want to see that out of him. And that was textbook performance there. And then my mind always goes different directions when I watch things in the media. Here was my initial reaction after I saw this. We're 2 to 3 weeks away from the election. The economy and this stimulus package is a huge deal. It always is when people vote. If this $1.8 trillion gets passed, there's a good chance Trump gets reelected. I mean, that is a victory lap he can take for 1.5 weeks. That's why the Democrats are stalling it. My mind goes to this. Is it better business for CNN to have their arch enemy Donald Trump as president? And now in the final couple weeks, They're going to do some subtle, small things to maybe help him out. You never see that. Ever. That helped Trump, that interview on CNN. And my thought is CNN as relevant if their guy is in the office for the next 4 years? Who do they rail against? You know? So I literally think it's better business for MSNBC, for CNN, to have Trump as president, and you're gonna see more of this in the final 2.5 weeks.
By the way, just so everybody knows this is the most viewed video on CNN maybe in the last couple months. Just so you know this. This is the most viewed video. It got 3.1 million views in 2 days. They don't get 3.1 million views. It got 3.1 million views in 2 days, the most viewed video they've had in the last 60 days. Crazy stuff to see something like that take place with Pelosi, because American people are sitting there saying, finally, you're holding people accountable. You know, that's one of the things that I liked and missed about Jon Stewart. Is it Jon Stewart?
Yeah.
Jon
Daily
Stewart.
Show.
I just liked his style, man, because he called Republicans out. He called the left out. He was just a guy that you knew he was going to go out there and not just be somebody saying, oh, yes, you're perfect. The only person he acted perfect with was Obama. When the two got together, it was like perfection. He can't do anything wrong. Outside of him, he held people accountable.